Today I'm going to be showing you how to build my Etre-fort like sweatpants for under 20 bucks, since I have been given lots of requests on how to make them. To start off with, you will need one pair of Walmart sweatpants with elastic bottoms and a drawstring top. These can be purchased in any size ranging from small to 4 extra large. Secondly, you will need a velvet or cloth pouch. You will need 10 feet of rope, preferably paracord is what I'm using, since it comes in a huge amount of colors and is incredibly strong. You will also need 2 inches of Velcro for your cloth pouch to make sure that it closes. This is optional depending on what you're using. You'll need 3 cord drawstring buckles. 1 will be used for the waist, and 2 will be used for each of the ankles. So a total of 3. And you also need a lighter if you're using paracord to singe the edges and to make it into a hard substance. You will also need some thread to sew onto the sweatpants. I will demonstrate the sewing method I use. It's not that hard at all. And finally, you will need a long bar or pole or stick that is about the same thickness of your rope. Now you can use chopsticks. I found the sewing needle just lying around, so I decided to use that. Yes, I do have sewing needles lying around, so I decided to use that, and that will be used to fix your drawstring and your ankles. So let's get started. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our Walmart sweatpants. I got these for under $10 and they are Fruit of the Loom. So what we're going to do is we need to break this drawstring off from the pants. Now cutting it doesn't seem to work, so what I did is I actually found this on accident. If you take the drawstring, tie it around your waist as firmly as possible, make a knot. Make it as tight as possible as well. Doesn't need to be a fancy knot, just one that will hold. Alright, after this you are going to stand up and pull your pants down. Spread your legs, pull it down, and the drawstring is going to go under a lot of stress, so it'll eventually break. Like that. Now when it does that, you're going to take off your pants, and you will notice that you can pull out the drawstring on one of the sides. Now after that, you're just going to rip the other one out, just use all your might, and then you'll be left with a drawstringless sweatpant. Here's what we're going to do now. We have our 4 feet of neon green paracord, and we have to singe the edge to make it easier to put into the waistline. Just take your lighter, and just melt the edges, melt the end of the rope. It's going to form a hard plastic. Make sure that it doesn't become black, because that's gotten too far. It shouldn't matter if it goes that way, but it just makes it a little bit easier to work with. So you got this. Let it cool down a little bit, and then you can begin your drawstring incision. Now you're going to take your needle or your chopstick or whatever stick you have, and you're going to stick it right into the rope. See that? So now you've got a little bit of paracord, or whatever rope you have, on the tip. Another addition is that paracord also works a lot better for this method too, from what I've experienced. So now you're going to take your rope and thread it through the hole which you pulled out your previous drawstring. It should go in pretty easily. If you get a few catches, don't worry, that's perfectly normal. But just make sure it goes through, and thread it all the way as far as you can, until there is no more room left to go. I've threaded as much of the sweatpants drawstring edge or the waistband as far as I could onto my rope. As you can tell, I made it into crinkles, and the rope is right here. Now here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the end of whatever stick you have, hold it, and you're going to find the end of the rope that you previously put on the stick. You're going to hold that part of the rope. Make sure, this is very important, make sure to hold it. Hold the rope, hold the stick out. And now you're going to do this. Keep on holding the rope. Just pull the waistband like that. And now there is rope from this section all the way over to here. What we're going to do is you're going to find where the rope is. You're going to take your stick. You're going to poke a small hole. Just one small hole. Don't go through the end of the waistband. Just poke it so that it goes into the waistband socket for the drawstring. And you are going to take the rope that is right there inside the drawstring and pull it so that you have the waistband and the drawstring like that. And you can poke your stick and try to get into the rope as cleanly as possible. Now at this point you're just going to thread it all the way around. So you have the little hole you made before where you inserted your stick and put it into the rope. Now you're just going to keep on pushing until you see the end of the rope. You're going to grab the end of the rope, take your stick, pull out the stick, hold onto the rope, and pull the drawstring out a little bit, and just ta-da! Now your drawstring is all the way through the waist, and you didn't need to make multiple cuts or incisions. Now you have your little hole that you made previously to stick the needle into, and if you want, you can sew that back up. If I don't do it. It doesn't make too much of a difference, but if it gives you peace of mind, you can do that. It won't take too long. So now we have the end of the ropes. What you're going to do is you're going to take your rope stopper, just a spring one, push it closed, and stick the strings through. Now depending on how big your ball stopper, spring stopper is, this may take a couple tries, but this is a pretty small one, probably one of the smallest, and it worked fine for me. So now, this is what you got. Now to make sure that the drawstring doesn't accidentally come out of the ball and go into the waist and you lose it forever, you're going to do this simple knot. You're going to take your string, you're going to loop it around itself like this, and you're going to put the end of your rope through the other side. This one is a very basic knot, and you can use this for pretty much any part of it. I will demonstrate again on this rope. Alright, and now the string is too big to fit out of the spring stopper. Now, just for aesthetic looks, you can take your scissors, snip off the ends of this, and take your lighter, and just melt the end of the rope, like you did at the beginning of the drawstring tutorial. You can decide when to stop is good, whenever it looks best to you, but it'll just melt onto the rope that's surrounding it. Let it cool a little bit, and repeat this step for your other side. It is time to move on to your ankles. This is part that's optional, but I would highly recommend it so it doesn't catch on any obstacles that you are jumping over. So, what you're going to do is you're going to lay out your pants. Now there's going to be a natural crease, if you can see this, that leads from the pocket right here all the way down to the bottom. Just follow that to the bottom, which is right around here, and you're going to make a small cut on the other side. Now you have a cut, and you can see that there is a rubber band inside of it. You're going to take your scissors, stick under there, and just cut it. Make sure to hold on to the end like this before you cut it so you can grab the rubber band out and pull it out. All I do, pull it out. Now you're left with a elasticless, I don't know what to call it, elastic ankle bottom. Now we are going to move on to the most important part of this to keep it from ripping, which is sewing around your... To make this part of the project easier to see, I have constructed something out of cardboard paper very quickly. So anyway, you take your thread. This extra piece of paracord that I have will be our thread. And the stick that I used previously for the drawstring will be our needle. The hole is to signify the little hole that you cut in your elastic bottoms. And these little notches right here we will get to in a moment. So what you're going to do is you take your needle and your thread it through, and you are going to go in the hole. Now the holes won't be there on your drawstring bottoms, you'll just have to thread through. And I'm just going to remove the quote-unquote needle just to make it easier. So you're going to do this type of knot. Take your rope, put it over, and put it through the hole. And it will loop over like this. Now do this again. Repeat this process so it goes around 4 times or more. This is very important because that is a minimal amount, I would say, for a good knot slash, I don't know what's called, reinforcement thread. And once you're done with that, you're going to have the end of the rope that you had originally that you stuck through. And the end of the rope should come around 4 times, and it will end up right here, right next to your thread. And now you're going to do is going to take your thread, and you're going to tie a knot. A very basic stitching. This is what it looks like now. I am able to now insert, using the same method as the waist, insert the rope into the ankle. So we're going to do same thing like your drawstring at the top, or waist drawstring. Take it, put it through the hole, put it all the way around as far as you can go. Hold the string, take it out, make a small hole, puncture your rope again, grab it, go all the way around, until it comes out the other side. Now this is probably the only part that's a little bit different than your normal drawstring. These buckles are a bit different than the ones you use on your waist. As you can tell that they have 2 holes for the rope, which is more similar to Etre-fort. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put the holes whichever way you like. Remember that when it's upside down, it will be right side up and vice versa. One more thing to note is, if you're already up to this part, you're going to want to make the cut to insert the drawstring to on the inside. If not, you can do it works the same process, but you just have to tuck in your drawstring into the inside of your pant leg, and this makes it just a little bit more easier, and it looks more like Etre-fort if that's what you're hoping for. So anyway, put the rope through, and since I'm using paracord, I'm going to put the same rope that I put through the hole through the other hole, so it gets like that. Pull it through, give it a little bit more slack, and then you're going to take the ends and you are going to take your lighter and melt them. Now, you want to be careful about this. Don't light it too long. The strength of the bond that forms between the rope is actually pretty strong. I haven't had any of them break yet. I doubt they ever will. So anyway, take your lighter, take your rope, light it until it melts, just a little bit. Not until they're on fire, until it melts. And then you take this, and they're going to fuse together. Alright, after they've fused together, it's going to be a really strong bond. And feed some of your extra rope through the end of it. Pull out the other side, and then you can feed the rope to where the little bond is, to the back of your ankles. And yep, there you go. See, this is the outside, this is the inside. Pull it through, and yeah. Now for tying the knot, this is a pretty simple method. Pull out the rope, take it, and put it through the hole. And it will form this knot, and you just put that at the bottom, wherever you want it to be. And repeat that process on the other ankle, and you are done.